My mother-in-law got me a job at my husband's company. Not subtle Sutton Holdings, downtown tower, executive floor badge, and a temporary strategy coordinator title that smelled like nepotism. Base $220K, bonus eligible. Victoria Sutton smoothed my lapel and said, "Proximity breeds miracles. Give me a grandbaby, Ava." Miracles belong to other people. Day 1, I learned Miles's brand new executive assistant hired 3 weeks earlier was Lila Whitmore, the girl he'd mooned over since prep school. She'd flown to London the morning we married. That night, my husband looked past me and said, "I only love her," like he was announcing the weather, and didn't come home. I adjusted. Survival is a skill set. I tucked myself into sales, kept my head down, smiled, listened. I'm world-class at 2 things, reading rooms and making friends. By lunch, I was in the department group chat. By Friday, I knew the garage entries on Miles's car and which managers were polishing their R-sums. When Lila moved into his Carmel Cove villa and started arriving in his passenger seat, something in me stopped bleeding and started building. I didn't blackmail anyone. I packaged information. Push notifications. I called them an opt-in tip line for internal movers who wanted a read on the CEO's mood, the board's temperature, or the timing of a product review. Everything sourced from legal, internal signals, calendars, public channels, open-door meetings, lunch sightings. 5 clients, 750-month retainers, 50 per ping. Lila, to my surprise, subscribed first. "I don't want to embarrass myself in front of ops," she said, eyes steady. The charge hit her business card. Her consent in writing. By month 2, my little signal co-op paid for itself. It also insulated me. When you know what's coming, you stop being a victim of it. When Miles did swing through Sutton Manor, he tracked footprints on the marble and read the journal like a prop. Victoria hovered with a spatula equal parts mother and field marshal. I slid her a look don't. If she torpedoed the marriage, my post-divorce settlement docked accordingly. We were allies with different agendas. She wanted a grandson, I wanted a clean exit. That night, he glanced at me, jaw tight, and said nothing. It takes discipline to look at a man and see your sunk costs. The first time I saw Lila alone, espresso machine sputtering, her hand trembling, I offered what I offer, everyone clarity. Professional tip line. Calendar reads, public sentiment, nothing illegal. Cancel any time. She stared, then nodded once. Send the contract. Her signature came through before the crema settled. If she expected me to warn her about him, she misread me. I don't warn. I price. Tomorrow, Miles has a client dinner, Victoria whispered, pressing a USB into my palm like contraband. I'll have Lewis keep the scotch flowing. When he's soft, you take him to the harbor view. Remind him what he has. If we weren't friends, she would have locked me in a room with her son and called it destiny. I smiled like a dutiful daughter-in-law and said, on me. That evening, I forwarded the client deck to Lila through her official email, CCing legal, clean as glass, because I wasn't going to be alone with a drinking man who didn't love me. She wired me nothing. She owed me nothing. She just wrote, thanks, and did her job. The dinner devolved into a wake. Managers rotated and Miles let victory speeches slosh into grievances. At midnight, with Lewis's elbow under one arm, I steered him to a penthouse Victoria had staged like an apology. I texted Lila, he's sick. Get him home safe. The next morning, a tabloid ran a photo hotel, robes, blurred faces, the silhouette still obviously him. I hadn't sent it. Someone had. The building has cameras, people have phones, money has gravity. The story was legal enough to print and ugly enough to trend. Gossip detonated at Sutton Holdings. Slack bloomed with think pieces disguised as jokes. I said nothing. I didn't need to. Entropy works free of charge. Couples who work together win together, Victoria announced over roast chicken, as if she were awarding a medal. Ava starts as Miles's executive assistant tomorrow. I wanted to divorce the man, not sit outside his door. But refusing Victoria is like refusing air. I packed my desk in sales, sent a fat red packet to the team, and walked onto the executive floor on 4-inch heels and dead calm. Miles handed me the comfiest chair, installed a daybed behind a privacy curtain, and told me to nap whenever. It wasn't an assistantship, it was a terrarium. I weaponized it. Instagram blossomed with curated shots, bracelet, bouquet, wire transfer receipts with captions like husband tax. The circle concluded we were disgustingly in love. Lila arrived in white one morning, fragile as blown glass. "Miles, I missed you," she whispered. He looked from her to me and stalled like a punctured tire. "You should take her to urgent care," I said briskly. "She's pale." He blinked, grateful. That night, Victoria slapped the tabloid on the table and told him to apologize to me. "He did," voice low, shoulders squared like he was taking a firing line. Later, he tried to sleep in my bed. I stood aside and let the door close between us. At some point, pity turns to danger. He'd begun noticing me, my laugh in meetings, the way I solve things without fuss. That's when you leave. Kill shot, I told my reflection. Clean, legal, final. I didn't need a scandal. I needed the truth to compound. Miles had moved another woman into his house while married to me. The board hated chaos. Victoria worshipped optics. I would let gravity do the rest. Then Lila turned up pregnant. 48 days. A faint line and a sharper silence. I scheduled a manicure and practiced keeping my face blank. Everyone sat at the dining table when I got home, Victoria rigid, Miles gaunt, Lila clasping water like a relic. Miles slid papers toward me. Divorce. 3 condos. 1. 5 million cash. 15-month for 18 months. NDA attached. Standard. I signed in 10 minutes. Victoria's eyes watered. "You're an adult, Miles. Do not regret this." The courthouse at 9 o'clock smelled like disinfectant and bad decisions. When the decree printed, I laughed. Couldn't help it. Freedom has a sound. His eyes went wet. He caught my wrist the way a child catches a kite string. "Ava," he said, voice shredded, "marry me again." "Sweetheart," I said, peeling him off. "I don't recycle." I'd already rented the townhouse next to Cole Soren's, for the record, coincidence and good schools. I called my best friend Jenna. The absentee boss reports tomorrow. While married alone for 3 years, I hadn't been idle. Sutton contacts plus the remnants of my father's network had become logistics pipes in Southeast Asia. 12 months earlier, I'd emptied my savings to launch Ashford Exports with Jenna as the face and me as the operator in the walls. Now it was time to put my name on the door. The launch party drew everyone who mattered and everyone hungry to be seen by the ones who mattered. Including Miles. Including Lila, ringless, subdued. I tapped his glass. "Don't invite me to your wedding." I hate buying gifts. I was ducking out when a man cut through the crowd like a decision. "Evening, not niece," he said, amused. "Evening, not uncle," I said, flat. Cole Soren, $12 billion in assets, 3 times Sutton's reach, leaned in the doorway, the kind of handsome that reads as competence. "Interested in Tencraft?" he asked. "We're moving a heavy pipeline. I could use a nimble partner." I should have said no. Men like him don't dabble, they consume. "Send the term sheet," I said. "I'll mark it tonight." We sat upstairs, legs folded under us like lawless teenagers, and tore the contract apart. Between red lines, we played 10 rounds of Cody Mobile. I cost him 8 stars. He didn't notice he was watching the way I dismantle a clause. When I opened the door at 2 a.m., Miles stood in the hall, hurt, shock, fury a man, with a story he preferred and evidence he didn't. Cole appeared at my shoulder, rolling one, and said, deadpan, "Ava, you're a beast." Anyone would assume the worst woman, man, closed room. I didn't explain. Either speak or take a pill, I told my ex. Don't block the hallway. Since when? He scraped. Since just now, I said. And it's none of your business. Cole added, mild as poison. Still have energy? Want a few more rounds upstairs? I shut the door in Miles's face and stole 2 more of Cole's stars. 10 Kraft minted money. To thank Cole, I bought dinner on his tab. Outside the restaurant, we found Miles, drunk and wagging like a happy lab. "Bobby," he slurred, reaching. Cole slid between us and offered his chest. "Careful, kid. I'm your uncle." I took a photo for later leverage and didn't charge anyone. That night, Jenna sent a video, Miles at a private room flipping a table and raving, "Ava is my wife, divorce be damned. Late love is a weed, cheap and clingy." At dawn, I opened my curtains. Cole stood on the balcony next door in gray loungewear, like a question. "Morning, neighbor," he said. Miles' spam called at 4 a.m. Voice wrecked. "Ava, I was wrong. Marry me again." I blocked him. I texted Lila, "What happened?" She replied, "I miscarried." The pivot explained itself. He called back on her phone. "You'll do anything to leave me." "All for Cole?" he said. "I told you, nothing happened with Lila." "Be an adult," I said. "If you play, you pay," and hung up. He texted, "You'll regret this." I blocked him and Lila both. 5 minutes later, a new number rang. Lila's voice, brittle. "Ava, be careful. He knows about our arrangement." I pictured the contract with her signature, the clean billing. "Doesn't he love you?" I asked. Silence. Then softer, "He doesn't deserve you." Click. Ashford lost 3 clients in 6 weeks. Doors closed that had opened themselves. Only one man carried enough bitterness to make calls at that speed. "Say the word and I bring a sword," Jenna hissed. "Not yet," I said. "Maybe buy an Italian howitzer." We executed Plan B. I floated an irresistible but toxic deal to the market, a bid that looked like a win until you examined the counterparty's debt stack. Miles rushed to poach it. He signed first and fell into the crater he hadn't measured. His layoff started 2 weeks later. His board called his mother. Victoria sold houses to stabilize the parent company and pulled her son from the chair. Screenshots of Miles's hunched shoulders circulated in group chats like warnings. I didn't gloat. I slept with a bat by the bed. He waited on my steps, thinner, eyes rimmed red. "Talk," he said. Cole turned his engine off and cracked the window. I nodded. "We had 3 years," Miles said, palms empty. "There has to be something left. Marry me again, and I'll unwind what I took from Ashford." "Don't smear me," I said. "I celibated for years while you played house with someone else. You divorced me and now you insult me?" "No." His gaze flicked to Cole. "Look, you and Cole, we're even. You don't hold mine against me, I won't hold yours against you. Let's reset. Male logic is a disease." Cole got out and wrapped an arm around my waist, friendly and proprietorial. "Kid," he said to Miles, tone pleasant, eyes not, "trying to woo your aunt in broad daylight?" Shame. I pinched Cole's waist for the performance and for the way my heart misbehaved. Miles's face went dark. "You and Cole won't end well," he said. "I won't let you." "Say I won't," I said, "and I will." He left, shaking. Satisfaction rated moderate. Fear, higher. Cole switched strategies. Pink heart pajamas on the balcony at 8 a.m. Waves at 6 p.m. Roses at my door, never inside. No declarations, just presents. The circle decided we were together. We weren't. Not officially. Not yet. Meanwhile, the crater Miles signed bled him out. Vendors clawed back credit. Victoria finally accepted math. Sutton shrank to survive. Miles, jobless, drifted through the places where people used to stand for him. Lila's last text echoed, "Be careful." I asked Miles to meet. Better to open my door than have him kick it. Sutton Manor, he said too quickly. I went. No staff, candles lit, steaks plated, pale blue shirt, a size too loose. "You know what today is?" he asked. I didn't. Our anniversary. In 3 years, we never celebrated. My ring finger itched phantom gold. I kept my voice clinical. You took over 2 years ago and grew the company. One failure doesn't define you. Fix your head. I will, he said. You're here to discuss remarriage? No. His smile died. Something feverish moved behind his eyes. You schemed for a divorce. You let me fall. After all that, you won't remarry? Then why are you here? I don't want you to spiral, I said. Great, he said, standing. Marry me. I turned for the door. He was faster. He yanked my hair and slapped me so hard the room bent. You're a vicious woman, he hissed, then softened, nauseating. Sorry. I realized too late, I love you. Let's start over. My phone lit coal. I lunged. Miles tied my wrists with a curtain cord and shoved me in a storage room. I'll prove Cole doesn't love you either, he said. Some choices are born wrong. He used my phone to text Cole, come to the manor. Now. He propped a phone against paint cans and opened a camera stream to the living room. Cole walked in tailored, glasses, composed. Where's Ava? He asked. In a minute, Miles said, pouring tea with shaking hands. Tell me why her. Ex-wife, Cole corrected, mild as spring water. And why do I like her? Because of you. Behind his lenses, something lethal flickered. I saw you leave her guarding an empty marriage. I saw her endure. Your mother adores her because she loved you and refused to humiliate you. Then one day, her eyes changed cool, self-contained, love gone. She launched Ashford. He paused. And stole my attention. Miles went ash. So she loved me, he whispered, as if decoding a foreign script. You want her back, Cole said. Do you deserve her? He set down the cup. When you didn't want her, she was nothing. Now that you do, sorry. You can't afford her. Sirens knifed the quiet. The front door burst. Victoria and 3 officers poured in. They cuffed Miles. Cole's calm ripped. He grabbed Miles by the collar. Where is she? Miles flicked his gaze toward the storage room. Cole broke the door. He untied me, pulled the gag, and shook while he held me like his bones expected me to vanish. Weren't you calm a second ago? I rasped. Calm my ass, he said, voice feral. I planned to take what I knew about your old love to my grave. Then I used it like a crowbar. You think I'm calm? Heartless woman. I laughed until my ribs complained. Victoria's hands trembled on my shoulders. The officers took statements. The camera, the cord burns, the slap evidence that breathes. Charges filed. An emergency protective order. Victoria's silence broke like rain. "I am sorry," she said, voice small. "Me too," I said, meaning something larger than apology can hold. Cole got me home and stood in my kitchen like a wall with a heartbeat. I fed him a sugar cube because he looked like a horse, refusing to admit it spooked. "Cole Soren," I said, tapping his chest, "to make it up to you, how about I give you a wife?" Silence rolled through the room. At last, no takebacks. "No takebacks," I said. I still owed him a dozen ridiculous balcony photos. The future looked busy. And for the record, I still don't recycle.